First with breaking news. First with new information. Plus, your first alert forecast. 19 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
We continue to follow breaking news, and we want to warn you this story is graphic. The bodies of two young girls found buried in suitcases near Ginn Academy. Thanks for joining us for 19 News at 4. I'm Nicole Versansky. Brian Duffy will join us in just a bit. Our Harry Boomer spoke with people who live in that neighborhood where the discovery was made, including, Harry, I understand, one of the people who made that discovery.
That is right, Nicole. I am standing right next to the shallow graves where the young girls' bodies were found. It's eerie that someone would dump them like trash. Cleveland police say apparently their bodies were here for some time. These two shallow graves mark the spots where two young girls were found Monday evening by a man walking his dog.
The only reason, brother, that I opened the door is because it was you.
I appreciate that. I spoke with the man through his security door who found the partially buried bodies. He didn't want to go on camera, and he didn't say much about the gruesome discovery. He was so traumatized, he really didn't want to talk about the experience.
I mean, you seem pretty shook about what you
Well, wouldn't you be?
Yeah. I mean,
Across the street from where you live?
Cheryl Young has lived in her home since 1999. The bodies were found across the street behind Ginn Academy, a straight line of sight from her front porch. What do you think about what was found over there? Shocked? Scared?
Yes. A little frightening. It just makes me wonder what happened, you know, and how did that come about?
Cleveland police say the bodies of the two teen girls between the ages of 8 and 14 were discovered in separate suitcases, partially buried in these shallow graves by a nearby resident who was walking his dog. The dog hit on one of the suitcases. Police found the second one after they responded to a 911 call.
And hoping that their family find justice and peace with this situation.
But, you know, you think about it, two girls missing.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't heard about it. Had you?
I haven't.
Well, two young girls don't just go missing without somebody noticing. As usual, police are asking for the public's help. If you know something, please, by all means, say something. At East 163rd and Midland Avenue, Harry Boomer, 19 News.
Harry, thank you. And 19 News with team coverage on this disturbing discovery. Brittany, we're learning more about the police investigation now. We'll have what she's uncovered everywhere at 5.
I threw him in the lake, and I gave him to them.
The Amish mother who drowned her 4-year-old son will not go to prison. Ruth Miller was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Keith Grant watched the judge's ruling live. Keith, the way the judge handled this case was incredibly unique.
It was, Nicole. Ruth Miller did not have a jury trial, so today's verdict rested entirely with the judge. He only used 5 pieces of evidence. That was 2 police reports and 3 mental health evaluations. And that's how he came up with the verdict today. Not guilty by reason of insanity.
I gave them to God.
That's Ruth Miller admitting to a grisly crime on police body camera. Last August, she told police she threw her 4-year-old son Vincent into Atwood Lake. The little boy drowned.
I threw him in the lake, and I gave him to them.
Investigators say Miller and her husband were trying to prove their faith to God. Her husband accidentally drowned in the lake when he tried to swim out to a sandbar. Miller told officers God told her he would be swallowed by a fish. For the first time on Tuesday, we gained insight into Miller's mental health issues leading up to the troubling trip to the lake.
The weeks leading up to the alleged offense, having short and erratic sleep, and she asked that her husband at one point in time to suffocate her.
The judge said all 3 psychiatric evaluations revealed the same answer.
They all concluded that you suffered from some form of mental disease that prevented you from knowing the wrongfulness of your conduct.
Not guilty by reason of insanity does not mean Miller will walk free. Instead, she will go to a psychiatric facility. All right, Miller will have another hearing March 13th. That's where she will learn which facility she will go to, Nicole.
All right, Keith, thank you. And 19 News with continuing coverage on this Incredibly disturbing case. Both sides calling the case of Ruth Miller one of the most tragic they've ever seen. Everywhere at 5, we have more reaction from both sides. The Dow drops nearly 400 points after trimming an earlier plunge of 1,200. Oil prices moved higher on worries about the widening war with Iran. The S&P and NASDAQ both dropped about 1%.
One, Hachimura blocked at the rim by Jared Allen.
Can you see? You can't? Can you see now? Can you see?
On the drive, leads it for Allen.
Who's played better than him?
Allen against Wiggins. Oh, he's so instinctive.
The hand up.
Tyson has his head up. He'll find a wide open Jared Allen.
This is the best stretch I've seen him, since in his career.
Allen inside.
And Brian Duffy joining us live from Rocket Arena ahead of the big Pistons game tonight. One you can actually watch for free on Cleveland's 43. This should be a fun night, Brian. We've got some big rivals with the matchup tonight.
Big rivals. And you know what, Nikki? They do not like each other at all. So that's going to be fun to watch, too. Two of the best teams in the NBA going at it tonight here at Rocket Arena. And we'll have it for you on Cleveland's 43. What we want to do now, though, is bring in 19 First Alert meteorologist Andy Chilian, who's tracking some warmer weather heading our way. Andy, people coming down to the basketball game tonight going to have to dodge some raindrops?
Yeah, a few raindrops, I think, and still the chilly temperatures. We've been stuck in the 40s all day, but eventually we'll start to turn to that warm-up as we get over the next few days. So something to look forward to. But either way, right now we are dealing with some low clouds, as we've seen over Rocket Arena all day right now. A look from our Jack Casino camera, and it's been just this view all day. At least it's not really doing much downtown right now as we take a look at First Alert Doppler with the temperatures on as well. Up to 45 in Cleveland, the warmest we've been all day, but I know with the clouds around and just the occasional mist and dampish feel, it definitely feels chillier out there. 48 in Akron and Canton right now. We are currently at 36, though, in Sandusky, 39 in Ashtabula, so definitely some cooler spots there. A bit of a lake breeze has been settling in there. But notice where the green is. That's, of course, First Alert Doppler showing the steadiest of rain has been moving generally to the south of downtown Cleveland. So we are getting a light rain from Akron to Canton down to Dover, and this will continue to slide off to the east. Could be a few raindrops still falling downtown. So don't want to rule out that for your evening commute, but at least this is not a real heavy rain at this hour, just enough to dampen the roads. Meanwhile, as you are looking at the forecast as we head through this evening, it's a 7 p.m. tip-off as the Cavs take on the Pistons. A couple hours beforehand, you're traveling to Rocket Arena. You're trying to find a parking, and there may be a brief shower downtown. Otherwise, the chill will be in the air. We'll start to fall through the 30s, and with that northwest breeze, under 5 miles per hour. So not too windy out there, but not looking too bad overall, with some drizzle that could be around as we wrap things up, and be mindful of some fog possible as we head overnight. So coming up here, I'll talk that full forecast. We'll track those rain chances for you. We have one more chilly day, or at least cooler day for tomorrow, and then, yes, that long advertised warm-up that we've been talking about now for the past few days is still on the way. Much warmer by the end of the week, and we'll talk more about that, plus more rain chances in the forecast through this weekend. That is all coming up here in just a bit. But again, some fun times here out at Rocket Arena, and something that we'll be watching for. A big game, of course, Brian, coming up this evening with the Cavs and Pistons.
Yeah, big game tonight, Andy. Thank you. And if you're trying to get down to the basketball game tonight, right in the middle of rush hour right now, let's see how we're doing with the traffic. Rachel.
Now your 19 First Alert traffic update.
Thank you, Brian. First, I want to update you on that crash that I've been keeping my eye on for more than an hour now that was blocking part of 90 West right at Dead Man's Curve. Now, if ODOT were to flip the camera the other way, you would see that there's still crews that are blocking this far right lane there just after Dead Man's Curve if you're continuing onto the West Shoreway. But at least in this view, you can see that we still have that bunched up backup that's lingering here around East 55th passing Burke Lakefront. But like I said, if you just wait about an extra 15 minutes. I expected that 2.5-mile stretch of bumper-to-bumper traffic to spread out, and that's exactly what happened. So minimal delays here, just the usual as you're used to tapping the brakes around Dead Man's Curve on 90 West anyway. But there's a few other crashes that have popped up now. So first I want to bring you to the Jennings Freeway, where the Jennings Freeway northbound is dealing with two different areas where we're seeing this crash site. So first we have here the Jennings Freeway North right at that Denison Avenue exit. And then you can see here we have two more fire trucks, more ambulances that are blocking the left side of the Jennings Freeway North just past that Denison Avenue exit ramp. So this is halting drivers who are having to kind of go around these first responders as if they're doing a zigzag here, because you have to move on over to the right or move on over to the left rather for these first responders that are on the right, but then over to the left we have these first responders, so you have to zigzag over to the right side. So this is causing some bumper-to-bumper traffic, as you can see here where the Jennings Freeway passes over Crestline. But so far I'm not seeing these backups reach all the way by Spring Road. Your delays here are just going to be between 5 and 10 minutes, but I'll be keeping my eye on that crash and let you know of the updates in my First Alert traffic.
Well, there is so much fun ahead tonight, and you can watch it all for free. If you don't have a ticket, no problem. You can see the game for free on Cleveland's 43. Our coverage begins at 6:30. Tip-off is at 7 again against the Pistons. And because the game is on Cleveland's 43, we'll be streaming our 7 p.m. newscast. First Alert Focus and First at 9. You can watch it for free as well on the 19 News Plus app. All right, check this out. A total lunar eclipse, commonly referred to as the blood moon, could be seen earlier today in Mexico City. You can see the moon turned a kind of a coppery red hue against that pre-dawn sky. The Earth, moon, and sun align, making the moon lose its usual white light. That reddish appearance is caused by the rays of sunlight around the outer edge of the eclipse shadow.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast, certified most accurate since 2004.
And I'm meteorologist Andy Chillian live outside at Rocket Arena. We are currently a little under a few hours away from the tip-off as the Cavs are going to be taking on the Pistons later this evening, and not looking too bad outside right now. So again, we're talking about the those rain chances that will be coming our way as we head towards the really end of the week, but also today we've seen certainly a few showers that have been around. Meanwhile, one more chill day, and then we're going to be much warmer as we head towards the end of the week. So still looking at that advertised warm-up. I know we've been talking about that, and it's something that we'll certainly be able to talk about here coming up pretty soon. But either way, as we head over the next few days, this is what we're looking at. We do have tomorrow with mostly dry conditions, especially the further north you are. We'll stay on the cooler side still, a bit damper, a shower as possible. I'd say mainly along south of US 30, and so we'll stay milder down there as well. By Thursday, we have widespread rain and thunder across our region. So that's going to be the day that we're going to be pretty damp everywhere. Could see some downpours, and again, a few thunderstorms cannot be ruled out. Now for Friday, we're going to get really the best of both worlds. We're going to stay mostly dry and warmer, so maybe a stray shower, but we'll finally all be climbing into the 60s on Friday. Now Saturday, we're in the 60s again. However, the trade-off is that we will be dealing with a few thunderstorms again across our region. So I want to start with the low temperatures tonight. We're going to stay around or drop to around the freezing mark along really a lot of the lakeshore. Meanwhile, a few degrees above that mark further south, 35 tonight, Akron, 37, Canton, 39, Dover to Carrollton. Just be mindful there can be some fog that does settle in spots this evening with the damp ground that is in place and just more of the humidity that's been around. Tomorrow, here's your high temperatures along the lakeshore. A lot of us staying in the 40s. We'll try to make near 50 in Ashtabula. Same thing for Medina, Worcester. A little bit further south, you add a few degrees. 51 in Canton, 53 in Dover. And mostly dry other than a few showers maybe in some of those southern counties, as I mentioned. Now here's Thursday's temperatures, and notice that we'll be at least in the 50s from Cleveland to Elyria, 40s right along the lakeshore. Still could be under the influence of some of that lake breeze from Menor to Ashtabula out to Sandusky, but looky ahead further south, 57 Akron to Ravenna, 58 Canton, and we'll be around 60 in Dover. That does come along well with those showers and storms. So want to time things out for you on First Alert Future View. I don't want to rule out a shower making it to downtown Cleveland an hour or two before tip-off this evening. Of course, that's at 7 o'clock. Cavs and Pistons, you see the steadiest of rain has been to to our south. We pretty much clear out overnight. There can be some of that fog. Otherwise, it's just going to stay pretty cloudy. And then tomorrow, really not a lot going on. So we'll be stuck in the clouds, some drizzle as possible. But look what happens Wednesday night, and especially as we get into Thursday. That's when you get more of that widespread rain, some downpours through a lot of the day. And then we will see this eventually moving out as we head into your Thursday night and Friday as well. So first alert 7-day, here we go. We have things finally rising temperature-wise. 60s on Friday. A spot shower is possible, but it's Saturday. It's a day we need to watch for widespread rain and storms. Windy as well as a cold front moves through. Nice finish to the weekend. Sunday a little bit cooler. Monday beautiful with sunshine. And then by this time next week, we'll still be in the 60s, talking about another chance for some rain. So that's how things are going. Either way, though, we are gearing things up. The Cavs taking on the Pistons tonight here at Rocket Arena at 7 o'clock. I'm meteorologist Andy Chillian reporting live from Rocket Arena. Back to you in the studio.
Now to your top 4 at 4, and it has been a tragic day. The bodies of 2 young girls were found partially buried in suitcases in Cleveland. A man walking his dog found them near East 162nd and Midland behind Ginn Academy. Police say the victims are black. One is between the age of 8 and 13. The other victim is between 10 and 14. Now, Police Chief Dorothy Todd says there are no missing persons reports that match their identities. There are no obvious signs as far as how they died, but investigators say their bodies have been there for some time. The Amish mother who drowned her 4-year-old son last summer was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Last month, Ruth Miller waived her right to a jury trial. It was last August at Atwood Lake. The mother admitted to police she threw her son into the lake. She, quote, wanted to give the 4-year-old to God. Miller will now go to a psychiatric center for treatment. She'll learn where her treatment will take place on March 13th. The man accused in the death of former 19 News reporter Bill Saffos pleaded guilty to attempted vehicular homicide. Zach Saliba will be sentenced in April. Saffos was walking near Hilliard and Madison in Lakewood in 2024. Police said Saliba admitted to speeding when he hit him. Now, several other accidents have happened at this same intersection. The city has added bike lanes, signs, and reflective striping to help keep people safe. Tens of thousands of travelers remain trapped in the Middle East as the war between the United States, Israel, and Iran rages on. Airspace is closed or severely restricted. Several airlines cautiously resumed limited operations out of the United Arab Emirates today. But some Americans who were vacationing in Dubai are still looking for a way out. Breaking at this hour, tragedy northeast of Cincinnati. Investigators say 6 people, including a mother and her 5 children, died in a house fire. Crews confirmed the 5th child was found this afternoon in Clarksville. You can see just the home completely engulfed in flames. Another victim, the father, was taken to the hospital. 8 firefighters were also hurt trying to put out these flames. Those firefighters have since been treated and will be okay. Also breaking, first responders working on a plan to remove a small plane that made an emergency landing on the Hudson River. You can see kind of that small piece of the plane poking just above the icy water. And remarkably, the pilot and the passenger survived with minor injuries. A business gone in an instant. 3 other businesses damaged after fire ripped through the building. Now the owners and the workers are just trying to figure out what comes next. First at 4, Catherine Huntley has the story.
Early Tuesday morning, Satara Whitmore got a call from her uncle. An early morning fire destroyed their family business, Whitmore's Barbecue.
And all he said was bad news. We got bad news. Everything is gone. But I didn't even know the magnitude of what he meant by that until I came up here. It's unrecognizable in there.
Photos show flames shooting from the roof of the plaza on Harvard Avenue in Warrensville Heights. Firefighters say it started around 2:30. The roof partially collapsed. 4 businesses impacted. Water was still dripping from Whitmore's today.
I cannot believe it. It's terrible. This been here. I used to work here when I was a little girl. Like, it's devastating.
Whitmore's Barbecue has been a Cleveland staple for more than 8 decades.
Everything is family owned and operated, and that's what we hope to get back to doing soon. But right now, it's just like, where do you go from here?
Satara Whitmore's grandparents started the business back in 1942. Back in 2004, they moved to this location in Warrensville Heights. Now, she says they'll move forward together.
We're going to be okay. We're going to figure it out as a family. Everything is done as a family, and that's what's got us this far, 84 years.
The fire also damaged 3 other businesses, including a newly opened salon suites owned by the Whitmores, a hat shop, and a shoe repair store. Perfect Blend Barbershop, a nearby longtime business, wasn't impacted. The owner, David Gully, feels for those who lost their shops.
I mean, it's a terrible, terrible thing. I mean, just for the community in general in Warrensville Heights. And then you're looking at, for the business community that's in this whole plaza, I mean, it affects us all.
But all are confident this will rally the community.
We'll be back stronger. You know, we'll continue to just come together as a community and just continue to grow and be better as a community.
The cause of the fire is being investigated. In Warrensville Heights, Catherine Huntley, 19 News.
There was extra security this morning at John Marshall High School on Cleveland's west side. A student brought a gun into the school yesterday morning. CMSD says it was found at a checkpoint. One of their security officers took it away. No one was hurt, and police arrested the student. Israel says it is conducting simultaneous strikes in Tehran and Beirut as the coordinated U.S. bombardment of Iran continues. Meantime, as Iran strikes U.S. targets and U.S. allies in the Middle East, the U.S. has closed its embassies in Saudi Arabia and Lebanon and Kuwait. Today, top Trump administration officials will brief Congress on Iran. Lee Waldman brings us the latest.
Smoke seen rising from the U.S. consulate in Dubai after being struck by a suspected Iranian drone, according to a source in the region. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump praised the progress of the U.S. military operation in Iran.
They have no Navy. It's been knocked out. They have no Air Force. It's been knocked out.
Hundreds of people have been killed in recent days after the U.S. and Israel launched a fierce bombing campaign on Iran. At least 6 U.S. service members based in Kuwait have died. Senate Armed Services Chairman Roger Wicker says he expects senators to discuss a potential supplemental defense funding bill during a briefing with top Trump administration officials this afternoon.
I commend the administration and the leadership in the department for coming down strong in favor of this quantum leap in national defense.
The briefing comes as questions continue to be raised by lawmakers on shifting explanations for the strikes.
I am troubled by the lack of a rationale. That's why you bring something like this to Congress.
An Iranian media outlet also reporting today that the son of the former supreme leader, a figure long seen as a potential successor, is alive.
The worst case would be we do this and then somebody takes over who's as bad as the previous person, right? You go through this and then in 5 years you realize you put somebody in who was no better.
I'm Lee Waldman reporting.
And a new video from when Akron police say a woman stole an ambulance on Britton Road. This is while crews were inside with the patients. Officers say that woman hopped into the med unit and took off. Crews called police and for another ambulance to take the patient to the hospital. That person is going to be okay. This is in the old Chapel Hill parking lot 2 blocks away. The suspect was inside and is now facing grand theft charges.